Welcome to the Global War Watch Network and the Deep Dive. This is where we take stacks of sources, break them down, and pull out those really important nuggets of knowledge for you. We want to give you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed, help you sift through the noise, find those aha moments. Today, we're diving into, well, a pretty significant piece of news. It's from the Associated Press, and it gives us a rare look into the very complex dynamics of a major conflict. Our mission today is to unpack these recent events in Myanmar. We want to understand what they mean, both regionally and maybe even beyond.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is how just one event, the recapture of a single town, can actually shed so much light on the ongoing civil war. It tells us about the different groups fighting, their motivations, and even, the big geopolitical interests that are swirling around.
Exactly. That's a great point. Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's really get into why this specific development in Myanmar feels so significant right now.
Right. So for anyone following Myanmar closely, you'll know the background. The country's been in turmoil, really, since the military took power from the elected government back in February 2021. That led to massive peaceful protests initially, but things escalated pretty quickly into armed resistance. Now, the source itself calls it a civil war.
And it's crucial to grasp the different forces at play here. It's not just one monolithic opposition. You've got the military government, the junta on one side, and on the other, well, it's a whole array of rebel forces. You have the People's Defense Force, the PDF, that's the pro-democracy resistance that kind of sprang up after the coup. But you also have these long-standing ethnic militias, like the groups in the Three Brotherhood Alliance. They've been fighting for decades, often for autonomy. This specific event involves one of those key ethnic groups. Okay, so that sets the stage. Now, the big news. The Myanmar military has recaptured a town called Nawnghkio. This isn't just any random town, is it? What makes it so important?
No, definitely not just any town. Nawnghkio is strategically vital. The AP article really highlights its location. It's a gateway town right on a major highway, and this highway is a key trading route connecting central Myanmar straight to China. So huge economic implications. Plus, for almost a year since last July, it was held by the Tang National Liberation Army, the TNLA. They're a core part of that Three Brotherhood Alliance we mentioned. And one more thing, it's also on the road to Pyin Oo Lwin, which is a major, major military garrison town.
Wow, okay, so controlling Nankio means controlling access, trade, and potentially threatening a key military base.
Hmm.
So the military taking it back, that feels like a big shift, especially after they seem to be losing ground for a while.
It really does. The source uses the phrase rare turnaround for the military, specifically in the northeast of the country. It suggests, yeah, maybe a change in momentum or at least a significant tactical victory for them.
So the military announced this through state media, right? The Myanmar Ella newspaper. What details did their report give?
Well, according to their report on Thursday, the Army claimed they completely captured Nawnghkio at noon on Wednesday. This apparently came after almost 11 months of operations. They mentioned over 500 armed engagements, including 20 major clashes, big numbers. They also claimed they recovered the bodies of 171 TNLA members and allies and seized ammunition. And the report added that the military is now, working to restore administration, clear landmines, help residents return safely. They even published photos, soldiers in front of government buildings, hospitals, markets, that sort of thing.
That's a very detailed account painting a picture of decisive victory. But the AP article also flagged something important about confirmation, didn't it?
Absolutely crucial point. The article states very clearly, and I'm quoting loosely here, that restrictions on reporting make independent confirmation virtually impossible, although it does add that the Army's claim hasn't actually been challenged. But still, it's a stark reminder, isn't it? We have to be cautious about information coming out of conflict zones, especially official reports from one side. Verifying facts independently is just incredibly difficult.
Right. Super important context. So what about the other side? The TNLA, the group that held Nankio. Did they say anything? Did they confirm or deny the military's claim?
Well, the AP noted the TNLA didn't immediately respond to their requests for comment, but they did post something on Telegram. On Wednesday, they put out a statement saying they'd moved their civil administration and service offices from Nankio to, quote, safe locations, their reasoning. They cited the military's intensive offensive operations in the past few months, which, they said, made it difficult to carry out work there. So it doesn't directly dispute the recapture, but it explains why they withdrew, basically, acknowledging the military pressure was too intense. A strategic retreat, perhaps.
Okay, so they acknowledge pulling back due to the offensive. And the TNLA, as you said, is part of this bigger coalition, the Three Brotherhood Alliance. Remind us again why this alliance is so significant overall.
Yeah, the alliance is a major player. It includes the TNLA, the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, or MNDAA, and the Arakan Army. These groups have deep roots, fighting for greater autonomy for, well, decades. And recently, especially since last October, October 2023, they've had remarkable success. They captured and now control, according to the source, significant swaths of territory. This includes areas near the Chinese border up in the northeast, but also territory in western Myanmar. These victories were huge, a big morale boost for the entire resistance movement, and really put the army on the back foot.
So this loss of Nawnghkio for the TNLA, while significant locally, comes after a period where the alliance generally has been gaining ground.
Exactly. It's a setback for them in this specific area, definitely, but it has to be seen against that broader backdrop of their recent advances elsewhere.
Let's zoom out a bit then. China. You mentioned the town is on a key trade route to China. What does this development mean for Beijing? They must be watching closely.
Oh, absolutely. China plays a really delicate balancing act in Myanmar. They try to maintain decent relations with both the military government and key ethnic groups like the Three Brotherhood Alliance. Why? Because Myanmar is strategically vital for them. It's a key Southeast Asian neighbor, a partner with huge Chinese investments in minerals, energy, infrastructure projects. The Belt and Road Initiative runs through there. But the article highlights that Beijing also worries. They fear that the aggressive actions of some rebel groups could destabilize the country too much, threatening those investments in regional security. It's a tightrope walk for them.
Right. And China's tried to step in before, haven't they? To mediate.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
And interestingly, this recapture of Nawnghkio by the military happened after talks that China brokered in Kunming back in late April. During those talks, the military apparently demanded that the TNLA withdraw from 5 towns, including Nawnghkio. The TNLA rejected those demands.
Okay. So the talks failed. The TNLA didn't withdraw voluntarily, and then the military moved in to take Nawnghkio by force. That adds another layer.
Precisely. It suggests that maybe the military felt diplomacy wasn't working, or perhaps they saw an opportunity and decided direct military action was needed to achieve their objective there.
And is this Nawnghkio recapture an isolated incident, or are we seeing signs of a wider military pushback?
The article suggests it might be part of a broader strategy. It points out that this happened just over a week after the military also claimed it retook another strategic town, Mobi. Mobi is in southern Shan State, and it had been seized by a different alliance of ethnic armed groups. So, 2 strategic towns reportedly retaken in fairly quick succession. It does suggest a more concerted effort by the military.
Interesting. And there was also a suggestion mentioned in the piece from the opposition's National Unity Government, the NUG, linking this military push to something else.
That's right. Nay Phone Les, who's a spokesperson for the NUG, spoke to the AP. He suggested that the military regime is actively trying to claw back territory from the resistance before a general election they plan to hold later this year.
An election under the current circumstances.
Well, yes, and Nay Phone Lat characterized that planned poll as being widely seen, really, as an attempt by the military to kind of legitimize or normalize its power grab through the ballot box. The idea being they want to hold an election, probably under very controlled conditions, to try and secure their grip on power politically. So retaking territory beforehand could be about projecting strength and control, making the election seem more viable, perhaps.
So these tactical military gains could be serving a larger political objective for the junta ahead of this controversial election plan.
That seems to be the NUG's interpretation, yes,
Mhm.
that these military operations are partly about stage managing the run-up to that election.
Okay. This deep dive really does show how complex this is. A single town changing hands in Myanmar isn't just a local event. It connects to major trade routes, it involves long-standing ethnic conflicts, regional power dynamics with China, and potentially even the military strategy for political consolidation. The key takeaway for me isn't just the recapture itself, but how it seems to fit into this bigger picture, the military actively trying to demonstrate strength, maybe change the narrative, possibly with that election in mind.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating, I think, is how this military victory, if confirmed and sustained, sits alongside the broader reality. The resistance is still widespread, it's multifaceted, and external players like China remain deeply involved. So even a tactical win like this doesn't necessarily simplify the overall conflict. It just adds another complex layer to an already incredibly volatile situation.
So, for you listening, what does all this mean? Well, understanding these kinds of geopolitical chess moves, even when they seem far away, helps connect the dots, doesn't it? On global trade, on humanitarian crises, on how power really works. And it leaves us with a question to think about. What could be the longer-term impacts of these kinds of tactical shifts? Wins for one side, setbacks for another on the overall direction of this conflict, and most importantly, on the lives of ordinary people in Myanmar.
Yeah, and it also makes you reflect on how we receive information from conflict zones, the challenges of verification, the importance of trying to understand all the different perspectives, especially when the fog of war is so thick.
Thank you for joining us on the Global War Watch Network. If you found this deep dive valuable, please do like, share, and subscribe to the Global War Watch Network. We genuinely want to hear your thoughts and perspectives, so please leave them in the comments section below. And do join our community on social media. You can find all the links in the description. We'll see you next time.